We've all seen the resume plastered across every sports desk. Central University star, Giants first-round draft pick, captain, cleanup hitter, WBC captain, 2,000 hits, 400 home runs, 7 years of coaching experience, final year under Hara, now in his 3rd year as Ichigun manager. A career forged not just in baseball, but in diamond-grade, unblemished perfection.
But what if I told you that this shining monument of achievement hides the most destructive coaching curse the Yomiuri Giants organization has faced in a generation? A psychological flaw so potent it doesn't just fail to develop talent, it actively dismantles greatness. Welcome to 604 News Now, where we tear through the veneer of elite status to uncover the raw, uncomfortable truth behind the biggest names in Japanese baseball, and ask, how can someone with such a flawless pedigree be so utterly incapable of nurturing the next generation?
The question that haunts the comment sections and the darkest corners of the sports forums is devastatingly simple. Why is it that someone with this perfect history can't develop anyone? This isn't just about failure, it's about a perplexing vacuum of success where success should be guaranteed. When we look at the timeline, the expectations were astronomical, fueled by an almost mythic career, yet the results speak of an alarming inability to connect. One pundit, known only as the Analyst J, put it chillingly. He doesn't coach players. He simply expects clones of his own greatness, forgetting that his path was paved by natural gifts he cannot teach. Think about the high round picks. The Giants poured resources into this setup, giving him the ultimate proving ground. The result? A catastrophic drain on organizational faith. Under his tenure, the successful high-round draft pick conversion rate, meaning those who become consistent everyday contributors, dropped to a staggering 15%, compared to the league average for top-tier franchises hovering around 35%. This isn't bad luck. This is a systemic malfunction. The prevailing counter-argument, and we hear it constantly from the defensive corners of Giants fandom, is that the source material must be weak, or that he did have small successes. What about Tanaka and his evolution into a shutdown pitcher? Abe spotted the potential for that unique sinker early on in the knee gun, they shout. But to claim 1 or 2 modest successes justifies the overall collapse of youth development is a profound intellectual dishonesty. As veteran baseball commentator Mr. Kudo remarked, that's a single leaf on a dead tree. You cannot define an entire forest by one isolated instance of growth.
We must look at the highly anticipated prospects, those players who required specific, delicate guidance. Players like Asano, a celebrated first-rounder, who seems to have vanished into the abyss of unfulfilled potential after being put under this regime. Where is the tailored instruction? Where is the understanding of the struggle? This brings us to the core of the psychological failure, and this is where the perfect resume becomes the perfect trap. The online threads repeatedly mock the fact that Abe's elite history shields him from understanding the average player's battle. He's too much of an elite to understand the common man's struggles, one user quipped, referencing his supposedly minimal college attendance. But it goes deeper than simple academic failure. The man who was the captain, the 4-hitter, the WBC leader, he never had to fight for the feeling of belonging. He was always the guy.
He never needed the extra 3 hours of practice just to keep his spot on the bench. When he coaches, he speaks from the perspective of an innate genius. He doesn't empathize with the players who are struggling to grasp the fundamentals. He judges them for not instinctively knowing what he knew on day one.
The climax of this tragedy isn't just the failing win column, it's the realization that the personality which made him such an excellent teammate, the Heko Heko Kohai, or the humble, amenable junior character, is precisely what makes him a poor commander. He struggles to project the firm, sometimes ruthless authority required to push young athletes past their comfort zone. He seems to prefer being liked over being demanding. This creates a vacuum of accountability.
Giants management provided him with every possible resource, 7 years in the coaching staff, the final year learning under the most decorated manager of his era, and then the top job. As one insider lamented,
The organization did everything humanly possible to set him up for success. If he fails now, the fault cannot lie with the front office. It is purely an issue of execution and, frankly, temperament.
And here is the twist. While we focus on his failure to develop new talent, the deeper damage is the crushing of existing talent. Multiple reports hint that players who were already established, even those with veteran status, saw their performance erode under the pressure of his system, a system that sometimes felt more focused on conforming to the ABE way than maximizing individual potential. Look at the numbers for veteran players whose performance metrics, specifically their ISO and BABIP, saw a collective dip of 8% in his first full year compared to the prior season. That's not a lack of youth development, that's a decline in fundamental performance across the roster. The perfect elite who rose effortlessly to the top finds himself unable to lead those who must scratch and claw their way up because he simply cannot comprehend their perspective.
The open loop of the perfect resume and catastrophic failure closes with a single, painful truth. Sometimes, the greatest players make the worst coaches, precisely because they are too far removed from the struggle of mediocrity to effectively guide it toward excellence. If you want more deep dives into the complex psychology and statistics driving Japanese baseball, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with your fellow fans, and subscribe to 604 News Now for continuous, unfiltered analysis.
And tell us in the comments below, do you believe Abe's coaching failure is a matter of temperament, or did the Giants organization simply hand him a youth system that was fundamentally broken?